How do you write a strong beginning that's going to hook your reader in to complete the chapter and move on to the chapter after that and the chapter after that? That's what we're going to cover today. Hey everyone, welcome to Pen to Paper. I'm Leah Lindeman, author of the Canadian Reminiscence series. Today is a different setting. I am outdoors in my backyard. Last night I wanted to do this in my usual spot, but I was just completely exhausted, and I want to get this to you on time as I attempt to do every week. I apologize for not having put this video out last week. I was fully intending on doing that, but something big happened. I went through a massive life change. We bought a house, a different house, and I can't wait to show you this new house. I will do a house tour, and I also can't wait to tell you the story, the miracle story of how we got this house, because it literally is a miracle. There's no way that we would have been able to get this house except by God. So I'm going to share all that once I'm completely set up in the new place. And as I said, I will give the house tour. We are receiving it or getting it June 6th. So there's a lot to happen. Anyways, last week was just full of that. That's why I didn't put this out. But I'm here, and we're going to cover the 3 key elements you need when you are opening a chapter. And basically, there are 3 C's that you need to remember. 1 is compelling, 2 is conflict, and 3 is character. No matter what you do with your beginning, you want it to be compelling. And if you have conflict, you want it to be compelling conflict. And if you're voicing it more from a character's perspective, or starting off with that more introspective character starter, it needs to also be compelling. Okay, so you can, as I said in my last video when I was talking about endings, you can tailor these to any kind of genre that you write, whether it's fantasy or a romance or literary fiction or mystery, and use these to make it work with what you want to write. So let's get into compelling, and I'm also going to give examples for each of these. As I said, it could be a compelling, pivotal moment that you're putting your reader into. So, for example, if we ended the chapter on, how did I have this? Let's say you end the chapter on a cliffhanger. Then you can have a compelling, okay, this is what happens right after. Or even if you end on a question that leads into your beginning, then it can be a compelling, okay, so this is how the scene's going to start flowing. But let me give you an example of something that's compelling, that's actually more of a setting, and yet it just makes you think, oh, what could that be? What's wrong with this scenario? So this is from 1984, George Orwell, and it is, how does it go now? It was a cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. Now, it seems not like much is going on, but when you say that the clocks were striking 13, immediately that should kind of be, oh, okay, well, what kind of world is this? Because obviously we don't have 13 on our clocks. So it automatically engages the reader to be curious about, okay, what kind of world have I been put into? What are the rules of this world? I'm curious about it. So that is something, a setting that can be compelling. And it's not necessarily an action scene, and it's not necessarily even an introspective character scene. But that's one way you can make setting compelling. Now let's go into a little bit more of conflict or action. You can interchange these words between the two of them. So again, as I said, if you had the end of a chapter that was a cliffhanger, or it was just propelling the reader into the next scene and it is an action scene, then you can start your chapter off this way. And one way that one example that I think is beloved by many fantasy horror lovers is the man in black fled across the desert, followed by the gunslinger. And immediately there's action and movement happening. And you want to know, well, who's this man in black and who's this gunslinger and why is the gunslinger following the man in black? So immediately it raises questions of, okay, who are these people and why are they following each other? So that's one good way to do it. Now for mysteries tend to be, you have some action in mysteries. Depends what kind of mystery it is. It could be a cozy mystery, which is less action. It could be more of a thriller mystery. So for mysteries, you could also do an action question. Now, I'm not saying this is a perfect example, but in one of my short stories that I'm currently writing right now, or I've written it already, but the way that I started it off was with a very simple question: what did I do? And automatically you're thinking, well, what did the character do? Is this said in a humorous way? Is this said in a way that is bringing on dread? Is this said in a way where they're just downing themselves? And why are they downing themselves? And what went wrong? And what do they need to fix? And how are they going to try to fix it? So that is another way that you can make your chapter opening compelling, by asking that question, or your character in first person is asking that question. And then it just begs the reader to figure out, well, let's answer the question by reading on. I have to brave the mosquitoes while I'm out here. And the last C that we're going to cover is character. Now, you're probably going to use this a lot more in quieter books. So literary fiction, maybe cozy mystery, maybe clean romance, just something a little bit more slow paced. But I'm going to mention this after. Anyways, something more slow paced, and it's going to be more of a character intriguing opening. So my example for this is actually from Peter Pan, and it says, all children except one must grow up. So there you're already taking something that we all know as fact. Everyone grows up, and yet there's one that doesn't. And why doesn't he? And what does that say about his character and how he interacts with other characters? And what does that mean for his longevity or his soul? So already there you are throwing out a whole bunch of questions with just that one statement that draws the reader in. So what I wanted to say about all of these, again, as I said, with how you end your chapters, it's not about using one more. Well, you might use one a little bit more than the others, but you want to make sure you use a variety of them. You don't want to be a one-trick pony. You're going to switch it up. And again, in those high action pivotal moments in your book, it's probably going to be more of an action beginning or a conflict beginning, or that question that propels the reader into more action. And for those moments in the book where something big has just happened and the characters need to simmer and to kind of think about what they've just learned or what they've just gone through, then that chapter opening is going to be quieter. And now I think I'm going to have to wrap this up because I've got kids coming outside, so that didn't last very long. But I hope that this has been helpful to you. And if you have any other questions about chapter openings, please sound down below. Or is there a chapter opening that you want to get better at? And please share that with me as well, and perhaps I can give some extra tips in the comments below. But thank you for watching today, and I will see you next week.